Please be seated. We are gathered here today. I'm sorry if I got a little bit unctuous with my introduction, but this is probably the only opportunity I have to lay it on thick with you guys. I adore you both, and I mean every word I say, up until now. Should we talk about the elephant in the room? No, let's not. No, we're gonna hold off.
Do you want to?
No, I think we
Do it.
do it. Do it.
Well, we got canceled.
No! What? You? No, don't boo. Don't. No. Don't boo. Don't boo. Vote. Boo. 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 No, don't boo. Vote. Well, let's get into it. In the face of this premature autopsy, I think we also feel quite proud of the work we did. We feel like our work is. Thank you. We feel good about it. We feel like our work is has some kind of essence that is meaningful. So again, thank you for coming and thank you for joining. Let's talk about Amy and Dan. We've all worked with Amy and Dan before. Can we talk about what it's like to be in their world? In their world? Is it their world? I think it's their world, right?
Very much their world.
Yeah, can either of you reflect on that, on what it's like to work with them?
With
Amy and Dan.
I've worked with them a lot, and it's always the very first thing you know is that you're going to get really good material to work with. It's going to be really smart, and it's going to be, as it turns out, really fast. And you're going to have great actors to work with because they're very intolerant of people who either don't act or don't learn their lines. Have you ever noticed that? Learn your lines. So, I mean, it's been phenomenal. It's been, it was 25 years ago with Gilmore Girls, and I had the pleasure of Bunheads, which didn't last, no support and all that. I enjoyed watching Maisel so much, and then got a chance to slip in and slip out. And then, I mean, this show was amazing, Étoile, and I thought, these two gentlemen were series regulars, the star and a major principal. I was a guest, so I kind of thought, well, maybe maybe I can continue this process next year. So you don't know, you just don't know. So it's always a joy to work with them. I mean, it's kind of the best material you can get, or at least that I've gotten in my life. So it's pretty special.
Have you seen them evolve over the years? I mean, are they capable of change?
like slowing down, or
Yeah, no.
Yeah. Well, you know what I found? Well, Amy was like the one, and we didn't know Dan very much in Gilmore Girls. We'd see he'd write a script, and every once in a while he would direct, but it was all Amy. And what I've noticed now in coming into Étoile is how equal they are and how much they balance each other. And so they are growing, but it's just making the work more exciting and probably more difficult.
Right. We'll let them figure that out at home. This show involves a lot of choreography, and that's not just for the dancers. I didn't write this. How fun was it to play? How fun was it to play with the energy of those scenes? No, you don't have to say how fun it was, but let's talk about let's talk about choreography. I mean, the show has, obviously a great deal of that, but also the way that Amy and Dan shoot, becomes very movement-based, choreographic.
Yeah, it was interesting. Even during Maisel, I felt this felt like a natural next step for them, because it sort of feels. It is heavily choreographed. It sort of moves like a musical. Everybody is weaving in and out of each other. It was interesting doing this show. I sort of felt I became a little altruistic in my mindset, because I felt if I messed up my lines, 20 dancers would have to start up all over again. And so all of a sudden I wasn't thinking about myself for once. But that's what made it so magical, because we were all thinking like that. Because it was a real tight live wire that we were weaving, because we do these glorious oneers, and there's dialogue and there's choreography, and you have our crew weaving in and out with these gigantic cameras on their back, and we all are aware that there's only so many takes we can do, because dancers can only do it so many times before their bodies give out. And so there was a real thrill to it, and it really felt like, oh, we are an ensemble. And it actually felt, coming from the theater, I think we would all agree, we all come from the theater, this felt like putting on a show.
Yeah, it's very exciting getting to be in that space, and when you leave after a day of succeeding at that, you do have that kind of hot buzz that you go home with, and you go, I think I need to drink 12 beers, or however you deal with it. Does this microphone sound okay? Okay, good. I'm hearing some kind of...
I always have trouble with this, and besides, I'm old.
Right.
And so I don't hear as well as I used to.
Okay.
So I'm learning to lip read, though. And I think I'm going to get a hearing aid.
Really?
I have a hearing aid.
I haven't seen a doctor about it. I just thought, okay.
You're going to go. Where are you going to go? Walmart? Costco, I think Costco has, right?
Yeah, you can.
Costco.
You can.
Yeah.
Go
No,
to your
apparently
ENT
they're
first.
really
I'm
good.
Going, but I do have trouble hearing people on stage now. I mean, maybe if we were doing live theater without mics and speaking loudly. So that everyone could hear
You just told me a little bit about your life. Let me tell you something about mine. That's from Long Day's Journey into Night. Here's a good one. The show creates a beautiful balance between maintaining artistic integrity, keeping an art form alive, and having to answer to the commercial powers that be. Did that resonate heavily with anyone else?
What do you think?
I'm the moderator. I have the power, and I would say, I don't. That does resonate with me. I mean, I think that's a constant forge in this business. That you have these curiosities that are, hopefully you'll find a story that pulls you in, but you also are up against having to make a living, and there are, the forces that actually enable us to make that living have a vested commercial interest in the product, and so yeah, I've got it all figured out. That's perfect, I think. That didn't really sort of spark the intense conversation I was hoping it would.
What were you hoping for?
Something better. How much of yourselves do you put in the role? Be honest.
You know,
I'm 23%.
I think at the end of the day, it's still your body, it's still your mouth, it's still your tongue, it's still there's only so much you can, I think, disappear. I believe in transformation, but I don't really believe in transformation from the outside. I don't believe in
Ooh, wait,
I don't know
do
what
that
that
again.
was. You didn't recognize me, did you? But I really believe that it's all in the text. It's always all in the text. And I think with somebody like Amy and Dan, actually I liken it to, I've said this before, I liken it to Sondheim. I think they are such psychologically potent writers that it's all in the writing. And so if you show up and obviously do your research, but be very present and know your lines, the character will come out of that. And so I always think that, what was your question?
What were you thinking?
It was good. It was how much you put
how much
yourself
of
in the
myself.
role.
So-
And you're
so
saying you do, but you're also a vessel.
I believe that, I do believe that we are vessels. And so
Yeah.
I think, I believe in honoring what was put into that writing. And everybody who writes is different than the other person who writes. So all of a sudden, you are going to be different. And I believe in having kind of this blind faith that it will take care of itself.
Yeah.
It does. Well, it's like what we talked about the last time we all got together. I said, as an actor, I've always depended tremendously on the writers, because I figured that's not just a moment that they have and they're going to write this line about this scene. They work on it, they change it, they alter it, they cut it, they add to it. And so it's my job as an actor to bring life to that. And it's like I always compare them to, they're architects, I am the builder. So the blueprint that I'm working from is called a script, and it's my job to follow everything, and that includes the commas and the exclamation points and the pauses, and that will actually inform your character and inform the emotional journey of the character. But with a good writer, and you know that the Palladinos, the Sherman-Palladinos and the Palladinos, and certain other like Sondheim, and I mean, I had John Guare, and I mean, we could name so many wonderful people. That's good writing. Just trust it, go with it, jump in. If you got a good director to go with that, you know, you got a lot of hard work ahead of you, but you're going to end up doing a really good job.
Yeah. You know, I actually feel like I'm lucky that I went to Hebrew school growing up, because I sort of believe that the text is set in stone, but we are able to interpret it, and we can talk about it, and we will find our answers through discussion. So I believe it's a discourse, but I really like that the text is set in stone. Don't ask me to improvise, it's just terrible.
What about if it's that the scene is silent? Winner. I actually agree with you. In the beginning, there was the word, and it was good. I think that the word really provides, you know, a lot of, you know, insight. I mean, Amy and Dan are incredible for. You read this stuff on the page, and you sort of get the wit and the repartee of it, but when you start to say it out loud, it reveals all of this nuance. And you know, they're not especially like direct about. You know, we don't have conversations about anything to do with emotion or life, but there is an inner life inside of all those people that they're writing. But it only comes out by saying the words. I've found. I've tried a couple times to correct things with them. I think about 3 times, and they've actually gone like, yeah, sure, let's try it. And it's within like 2 takes. I'm like, we need to go back. This is going to be good. The series uses the backdrop of saving the ballet to explore something much more universal, which is the pursuit of dreams and sacrifices, risks and resilience that journey often requires. At one point, Cheyenne says something to the effect of, I am not a dancer because I want to be, but rather she dances because she has no choice. As storytellers and artists, how did this narrative resonate with your own personal creative journeys? I think what it's asking is. No, I mean, real.
No, it's not that. It's just I'm really.
You didn't hear it, yeah? No.
Huh?
No. She couldn't hear you.
No, I know. You want me to read it again, or give me my interpretation?
No, but I mean, how that resonates. It does with any dancer. There are probably a few of you out here. When you dance and you get that good, and I'm not even talking about Cheyenne. She was a brilliant. But when you're good enough to be a professional. You have worked hard, and you have worked daily, and you have worked for at least generally 10 years in class hard to get there. So you really do have to do it. And I remember, and I will toot my own horn here because it's actually from my real story. When we were working on a chorus line, my character, well, I didn't expect that at all. No, what happens in it, and telling my story.
Sing it.
I'm not singing. But it was in the tape sessions, and it ended up in the show, was when my mother finally revved me up to, you know, point your toe, took me to see the red shoes, did all that sort of thing. And then she said, you'll have to wait until you're 8. And I was only 6 then. And I literally said, but I've got to dance. And there's Cheyenne. You have to.
And is that a feeling that, like, so obviously over the years, we all know what it's like to come up against adversity also within having that yearning and wish. How do you keep going?
With the dancing?
Yeah.
You keep going back to class if you don't have a job. And the thing about dancing that's so wonderful is sort of like my singing, but we won't talk about that. Anybody can dance. It doesn't matter how you look, and it just don't use a mirror or do it in front of anyone or whatever. Dancing is fun. To me, dancing, and children do it too, but dancing is like grown-up play. Yeah. That's like really having fun is to dance. I mean, you listen to something on the radio and you start going with it, or you in the car. Try not to do that too much, but it's you just keep doing it, and it feels good, and it feels good to sweat and it feels good in class if you're taking classes and you've got a studio with a mirror. It feels so good to look in the mirror and go, yes, you finally nailed it, because you've seen so many times that you didn't nail it. So it's a gift. Come on, man. It's great. How can you not do it?
It's like Samuel Beckett said, I can't go on, I will go on. Right? I mean, in a way. Okay. Listen, let's get into something else. I'm going to switch gears here. We're going to go to a clip featuring Gideon. Can we please show that scene? Can we? Anybody? Do we want to act it out? Gideon, you're really superb on this show. Thank you for all of your hard work. Shall we move on? Do you get? Why is there Marmite in that scene?
We're in London.
And that's to make it known that you're.
We are in London.
Are you getting anything from Marmite these days? Are they sending you? Do you like Marmite?
They won't return my calls.
Yeah. All right. Tell me, how does this clip speak to how disconnected Tobias is from those around him, despite his deep connection to dance?
Well, I think Tobias lives in his own world, and he's always lived in his own world, and he has a very, very hard time sharing that world with other people. And so, he just found out that a year after his relationship, that they've broken up. And I think, the thing about Tobias is he sees life really clearly in his own head. But again, he is not able to articulate that to anybody else. And so what makes his relationship with Gabon so exciting is that all of a sudden they have this shared vocabulary, and it's odd and it's strange, but they understand each other. And as a result, their defenses come down and they're able to really see each other. And it's interesting because, I don't think Tobias realizes that he's in love with Gabon until truly the very, very end of the finale, when he delivers that monologue, and then he sees him, and then he ends up. Have you guys all seen the show? Am I spoiling things? Okay, you're here. Okay. Good. Thank you. Thanks for watching. And then he kisses him, but it's interesting because this is episode 7, but he subconsciously knows, but he is so not in touch with his feelings. He is very blunt and he is very forward, but in the same way in this episode, he's a little masochistic to the other dancers because he's so distraught over not having Gabon. But again, he's not able to articulate that, and so he's subconsciously breaking up with his ex, who's already broken up with, and then he lashes out. So he's an enigma. Tobias.
Yeah, but he's an incredible character. He ends up being the strongest, most self-realized person in the story.
Well, he has a very clean arc, which is nice.
Well, I was said it in a nicer way. He's the best.
Well, I can't say that.
No, but that's why I'm here. So, you began the series working on it as a writer, correct? And then you came to it by being an actor. Is that because of greed or what is it? What is it about you that needed to fill the cup so heavily?
Oh.
And does it feel like it's running over?
Why did you need to moderate this? I'm just a little curious.
My plan is working.
No, but it's interesting. You talked about creativity and the pursuit of it and having no choice. I during the pandemic, I was just so paralyzed with nothing to do. And I realized, I am a creative person, and I really don't know what else I could do that's not creative.
What about sourdough?
I made cocktails. But it wasn't fulfilling. And so during the pandemic, I sort of had a manic episode where I just started writing a lot. And it's interesting, I've always thought, I didn't major in acting. I maybe should have, but I didn't. I majored in art history because I always thought I never wanted to be myopic about my pursuits, because I always felt, in the same way, you are the canvas. You should be as full as possible. Mm-hmm. And so I started writing, and it felt fulfilling in a different way, because it was something you could do by yourself that was still creative, and I didn't need to depend on other people to say, oh, you can do this. So that was really, really thrilling, and it's become a very large part of my creative experience.
Yeah, beautiful. How did you find the guts to share it? Did you go to Amy and Dan with something?
Livia Kramer, who's a producer on Marvelous Mrs. Maisel and Étoile, she had read my writing, and she gave it to them when they were staffing the room. And so then they read it, and then we had a meeting, and then they offered me the writer's room. But first as a writer, not as an actor. It was only later in the process that they offered me the role.
I'd like to see what that was.
There's no part for you, I'm sorry.
I'd still like to proofread it. Can we talk about reuniting with Jonathan Groff? I think that's important to address, right? You guys have a nice history. And
it was interesting. I saw Just in Time yesterday for the first time, and it is so sensational. And so what I've always felt about Jonathan, obviously he's very charming. Everybody falls in love with him, and he's able to, when he looks at you, you're like, I am the only human being that exists in the world. But I think what I love about Jonathan, and maybe it's because I don't feel this way, is he derives so much joy from what he does. He is that theater kid who just loves doing what he does, and he gets so energized. I saw him in between a matinee and an evening show, and he was just so alive and so excited to do it again. And it's refreshing, because it's interesting. Tobias says at the end in the finale when he's delivering that monologue, and I think it's a reflection of Amy, but it also feels a reflection of me, because I only like it when it's done and I can forget about it, meaning the creative process. And that's how I feel, and Jonathan is the complete opposite.
He likes being in it.
He likes being in it. And I obviously like being in it, that's why I do it, but I really want it to be over.
No, it sounds I hear that. It sounds like a nice technique. I'd love to be able to, in between two shows, go eat and be fun and excited about, and not
Yeah, he's excited to do it again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We got to talk. We got to pin him down and figure out the secret sauce. All right. I guess I got one more question for you. Do you want to talk about Marguerite Derricks and choreography? I think Marguerite Derricks was our choreographer on the show, and she really just, went above and beyond with this. And, I don't know if you've seen the dancing. It's incredible. But you got to sort of shadow her more than anyone else.
Yeah, Marguerite is the spine of the entire show. The majority of the dance that you see comes from her mind. But she's not only a brilliant choreographer, she's a storyteller. And so she was choreographing my stuff through my character. And so, which is a pretty complex thing to do, because it's not just her vision, it's her vision through me and through Tobias. And we sort of saw ourselves as a hive mind. I think we kind of understood each other in a bizarre way. She saw herself in Tobias, strangely, and I stole from her. The way that she weaves through her dancers, she sort of stalks them like prey. I took that.
Yeah. Well, okay, you're really good in the show. Thanks. You for your
Thanks, Luke. So are you.
No, truly. Yeah. Should we look at a clip with Kelly? How do you feel about that? Yeah. Let's go to the clip, please. What a happy family. The perfect family. That also has Patrick Page in there, who's, I think he's...
Wonderful.
Yeah. You get to say some outlandish things on this show. It's kind of, you say things where you almost go, what the hell is going on? Did you have that when you read the script? Did you
When I read the script, because the first one I read was it's in episode 3, and it's when she's describing the grandmother who lost all her limbs because of circulation, and she
The torso. The torso.
She was only basically a torso and a head, and she says. And she was in this hospital wing because our family was so very wealthy that we kind of built a wing for her. And I said her greatest thrill was when they lifted her up and propped her in the windowsill so she could look down and watch the people going into the theater, her theater. I went, that is so weird. That is what it is. I finally just defined it to saying, she is charmed by the grotesque.
Yeah.
You know, when
Yes.
then she talks about the lap. I mean, that was my favorite. I told too many people about it even before I shot the film. As I'm telling, when he was a little child, he come to see her in the hospital, and I said, "Do you remember?" And of course, he said no because he did remember. And I said, "You'd sit on her lap, or where her lap would have been, and then you know, and it's like." This is weird.
Yeah.
I want to do this character.
Yeah.
She's crazy someplace, you know.
Yeah.
Wonderful. I mean, I'm disappointed too. I know you guys are heartbroken.
Yeah.
But I'm disappointed.
Wait,
too.
disappointed about what?
Huh? Oh.
No.
Oh, they
no,
didn't
nope.
tell you.
It's fantastic. Listen, you are from Chorus Line. You also are in, well, the ultimate film about dance, Dirty Dancing. Nobody puts baby in a corner. Do you have a thought about why stories about dance, why they endure, what it is about, like, given your upbringing with it, do you have a sense of what it is that keeps
Well,
pulling
I mean, it
people
was
in?
clear that my mother wanted me to dance and that she was going to get me training and the whole thing. But you have a point there, because not only was I a dancer for many years before I had the courage and the determination to move on and become a principal performer, but, you know, Dirty Dancing, I hadn't actually thought about that being a through line.
Right, yeah.
And yet it is. And now then I get together with Amy, didn't even know it for the first year at least that we were together on Gilmore Girls, that she had been trained as a ballet dancer too. No clue. I was going to the same school in Toluca Lake for adult ballet classes on my days off, where she had been trained as a child. And this was a good place. I mean, who was it? She had a couple of New York City ballet principal dancers who had come out of that. So it was good training. So it seems to be a through line that I can't get away from, but that's okay, because like what I said, dancing is one of the greatest gifts that any human being can have. And if you're in a wheelchair, you can do this. You know, it's a gift.
Yeah.
So I'm, hey, make a living at it, blows my mind.
Yeah, that's beautiful.
Yeah.
I want to dance.
Yeah.
We'll get there. How's this? What is it like for you jumping?
Subtle.
Okay, less? Am I pushing? Jumping in and out of productions with Amy and Dan, when you come back into it, does it feel like coming home? Do you have to kind of relearn things, or is it smooth sailing?
It's like coming home. Home. I love there because I can trust them.
Yeah.
That's the main thing, is the material is going to be good.
Yeah.
And I mean, I really adore Amy. We really love each other, though we never talk to each other, but it's okay. Maybe that's why. And Dan, I've gotten closer.
Magic
and
of
closer
love.
to over the, the love is felt. But no, I'm really happy whenever I get a chance to work
I do
with
find they are so good at creating worlds. I mean, they put together a crew that is so good at building a world that you're immersed into by virtue of all the different teams of designers and sets, and you do kind of walk in and you go, oh, I'm here.
Right.
It doesn't take a lot to bring.
They're also very loyal.
Yes.
I mean, if you're part of their team, and I even mentioned to her, I think when we were doing, maybe it was Bunheads, and we come off Gilmore Girls, I said to her something about the same people doing this, and that, I didn't realize you're going to bring them in. She said, I worked hard to build this. I don't think she said stable. I hope she didn't, but she gets these.
Probably
actors.
said stable.
She probably did. But she gets them, and then she decides she likes them, and she is amazingly loyal, and she's really surprisingly generous. I mean, when she's able to be. I just adore them.
I remember somebody at theater school saying, "We're training thoroughbreds here," and I went, "Boo." But I think that Amy would appreciate that teacher's attitude. All right, well, that's it. I think I'd like to cut to a clip for me. Do we have something that we can share? I think I chose that scene because, that scene kind of displays a lot of what I love about this show, which is the yearning that people have for company, a kind of the meaning and purpose that comes out of that. And that scene has all of these incredible dancers who gave us their time and acumen and discipline, who were great inspirations, Unity Fail and Robbie Fairchild, to name a couple. It was Tyler Peck. Please shout them out. Tyler Peck. Ashley Laracy. Say again? Ashley Laracy. We can keep going. So anyways, it's just sort of, to me, it's just sort of exhibits what I liked about being there. Do you have any questions for me about that scene? I also think Gideon's really good in the show, and it had him in it too, so.
I have no questions.
That's
I wish I knew ahead of time that I would have prepared a question. How'd you like working with Gideon Glick?
You take your hits. All right. I think it's time to do some Q&A questions. I have some questions that were delivered here. Should we just go into it? All right. This says, "Hi, Luke. Lesbians love you."
Why do lesbians love Luke?
I know why.
Can we ask? Wait, who wrote that? Why do lesbians
No.
Luke so much? Okay, I'm gonna let him handle this.
We don't need to. We take it. We accept it and say thank you. And I know. And I know why. Thank you. The Palladinos are known for their dialogue. Fave line to say, something that really stuck with you? That's from Samantha. Thank you, Samantha. Any favorite lines?
You have a favorite line?
I think she said it. Right? About the torso? That's got to be your favorite line.
I think you sat on her lap or where it would have been. And then you just leaned into her and hugged the stuffing out of her. That was a good line.
I like when Tobias said, "Nope." Oh. Nope. That was nice. But again, I said it earlier, I really like that line because I only like it when it's done and I can forget about it because it feels honest to me, and it felt like Amy. It felt like I was speaking for Amy, and I love speaking for Amy. Yeah. I sure do.
I do too. I've drawn a blank, so I'm sorry. I can't. I won't be able to remember one. Please shout them out. If you could do one commercial, what would it be? What product would you want to sell? That's from Nanook.
That was a good callback. You should be in our writer's room for second season. Oh, never mind. I'm so sorry.
I know what I would like. I've always wanted to do a commercial for Filet-O-Fish. I'm a big fan of the Filet-O-Fish. I love the Filet-O-Fish. I'm a big fan. It's a great sandwich. And that's not why I like the Filet-O-Fish, to be clear, but I do like the Filet-O-Fish because I think it's quite tasty, and I think it would be fun to do a commercial for the Filet-O-Fish. I also would do a commercial for Sapporo because they bottle it in my hometown of Guelph, Ontario, which people don't know. They think it comes from Japan, but in like the sort of eastern seaboard Canadian region down to into Sapporo. Filet-O-Fish, Sapporo. I don't recommend having them together. Do you want any commercials? Any products you love?
No, I don't want to do commercials.
You're above it.
No.
Well, we finally have one artist in the room.
I want to sing. I want to be in the opera. Ooh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Commercial for the opera.
There you go.
No commercial.
I'm really appreciative of my Roomba because my dog sheds like crazy, and so it goes off every night, and my apartment is sparkling clean because of that. And so, yeah, thank you, Roomba. I mean, so to show my appreciation, I would do a commercial for the
Don't
Roomba.
You love products. Isn't this great product placement? What did you enjoy the most? Are they going to pull us away? What did you enjoy most during your time filming in Paris? What did you enjoy most?
What do you enjoy the most during your time filming in Paris?
Sorry.
What was your problem? This is clear as day.
A few. Yeah, that's from. Who's it from?
Tom. I can't read that last name.
Do you remember Tom? Tom, thank you
Tom.
for the question. There was being in Paris and working in Paris was really exceptional. It was very exciting. We got to work with a very hot team of French talent: Charlotte Gainsbourg, Lou Delage, Marie Berthaud, who is a genius. That is a very rare treat, and so to me it was definitely the people. And also just getting to learn that there's different ways to skin a cat. They work a little bit differently. And that's what we say, skin a cat? It's that? Did I get it wrong? Did I? What
It
is
was weird. It was weird placement.
Well, how do you say it?
No, you say it like that. It's just.
There's more than one way to skin a cat.
Yeah, I know. It just felt weird.
It's not a good image. Do you know that they used to skin cats alive in Paris? That was another great thing about being in Paris, is that it was Lutetia originally, that the Romans
You're
actually
getting a timeout.
went...
You got a time
Sorry,
out.
okay. Okay, love the show. Question for everyone. Are you Team Cheyenne or Team Geneviève from Tessa?
I'm Team Cheyenne. But I love them both. But man, your sparks really flew at that kiss.
Yeah. I'll never choose. Luke and Gideon, what show would you like to do together on Broadway? Who's Afraid of Virginia Woolf?
Who's playing who?
I play Martha. You play George. You can sit there in that chair of yours, your melons bobbling. You'll have to say that, but you can stand it.
Waiting for Godot.
Folks, that's all we've got. We are sad about our show. Thank you for joining us. We're very sad about our show, but we are very proud of what we've done. Thank you for sharing your time.
Thank you for coming.